On the morning of September 11th, 2001, New York City was just beginning another normal day. The sky was clear, the sun was bright, and thousands of people arrived for work at the World Trade Center, two massive towers that symbolized America's power and pride. But within minutes, everything changed. At 8:46 a.m., American Airlines Flight 11 crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. People thought it was an accident, a tragic plane crash. But then, at 9:03 a.m., a second plane, United Airlines Flight 175, struck the South Tower. Now, the truth was undeniable. America was under attack. Smoke filled the sky. People ran through the streets in panic. Millions watched live on television as both towers burned. Then, something no one could imagine happened. The South Tower collapsed, followed by the North Tower. In just a few hours, New York's proudest buildings were gone, and thousands of lives were lost. But the horror didn't stop there. Another hijacked plane, American Airlines Flight 77, hit the Pentagon, the headquarters of the U.S. military in Washington, D.C. A fourth plane, United Flight 93, was heading toward another target in Washington. The passengers on board realized what was happening. They fought back against the hijackers, forcing the plane to crash in a field in Pennsylvania, saving countless lives. By the end of that day, nearly 3,000 people were dead, and America was in shock. The nation had been attacked on its own soil, and the world would never be the same again. The Hunt For The Mastermind investigators soon revealed who was behind the attacks. Al-Qaeda, a terrorist organization led by Osama bin Laden. Bin Laden had trained thousands of fighters and planned the attack from Afghanistan, where the Taliban ruled. Within weeks, President George W. Bush addressed the nation, declaring a war on terror. U.S. and allied forces invaded Afghanistan in October 2001, targeting both the Taliban and Al-Qaeda. Cities like Kabul, Kandahar, and Tora Bora became battlefields. Osama bin Laden escaped capture and went into hiding. But the war had just begun. Years of war. The war in Afghanistan lasted for 2 decades. Thousands of U.S. and NATO troops were deployed. Countless Afghan civilians were caught in the crossfire. Terrorism spread to other regions, and the world entered a new era of security, fear, and surveillance. Airports around the world changed forever. Intelligence agencies gained massive powers, and the phrase Homeland Security became part of everyday life. In 2003, the U.S. also invaded Iraq, claiming to fight weapons of mass destruction, but the connection to 9/11 was unclear. Still, the global war on terror expanded, changing the Middle East and the world's politics for years to come. The death of Osama bin Laden. For 10 years, the U.S. searched for Osama bin Laden, the world's most wanted man. Then, on May 2, 2011, U.S. Navy SEALs carried out a secret mission in Abbottabad, Pakistan. In a dark compound surrounded by high walls, they found and killed bin Laden. President Obama announced to the world, "Justice has been done." Crowds filled the streets of New York and Washington, cheering, waving flags, and chanting, "USA! USA!" For many Americans, the death of bin Laden felt like the closing of a painful chapter. But for others, the scars of 9/11 would never heal. The legacy of 9/11. 20 years later, the memories of that day still live in the hearts of millions. The new One World Trade Center now stands where the Twin Towers once were, taller, stronger, and shining over New York City. A memorial pool marks the exact footprints of the towers, engraved with the names of every victim. Each year on September 11th, the sky is lit with 2 beams of blue light, a symbol of remembrance and resilience. The 9/11 attacks changed the world forever. They reshaped politics, security, and the balance of power across nations. But they also reminded humanity of its unity, that in the face of tragedy, people can stand together, help each other, and rebuild. 11 was not just an attack on buildings, it was an attack on hope. But from the ashes, humanity rose stronger than ever.